One of the hottest supplements on the market right now is indeed creatine. And we're exploring the benefits and, importantly, the darker side of that particular supplement. Why you should be cautious in your approach to using it, and why, for some, it continues to be an absolute powerhouse in terms of energy and in terms of muscular strength and so on and so forth. I'm here to arm you with the intellectual weaponry to be able to decide whether this is indeed the right tool for you in trying to regain your energy and indeed your brain power from the very grasp of things like ME, CFS and indeed fibromyalgia, something which affects around about 103 million people around the world. I am Vishal Soni from Elite Wellness Warriors, and I hold a national role in science education, which is involved in developing and training educators in the UK. More importantly, for the purpose of today's video, I am indeed a survivor of fibromyalgia, which I have had for 15 years. One of the most vicious, chronic, and unrelenting conditions that are out there. One of the hardest battles I've ever had in my entire life is to be able to beat that condition, and it's through biohacking and through experimentation that I'm able to gain my mental clarity and my physicality again from the clutches of this particular illness. I am privileged to be here sharing some of those ideas with you, and I hope you do find this very useful. So let's go for it. So let's talk about creatine in terms of fibromyalgia very, very specifically. So there was a study done by Alves et al. And in this study, it was a 16-week randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial where they gave people with fibromyalgia creatine monohydrate, which is the most common version of this particular supplement. And indeed, it showed significantly greater gains in both muscle strength and energy stores when compared to placebo. It is, though, whether to say it didn't have benefits to pain and other symptoms, but it did benefit energy and indeed strength. Creatine is one of the most researched supplements in biology today. It's one of the most researched and used nutritional supplements out there. And it helps you produce ATP and recycle that energy as well, which is really important for high intensity exercise. So burst events, badminton, tennis, strength events, high intensity exercise, intensive cardio, all of those intensive things benefit from the use of creatine monohydrate. It increases your muscle strength, your power, your recovery from exercise. It will enable you to have greater cellular energy production and indeed metabolism. We know, for example, it's very good for your brain because, of course, your brain is going to be one of the most energy-intensive organs out there in terms of requirements. So it stands to reason it's going to be really beneficial for you cognitively as well. So brain energy processes can also benefit from this wonderful supplement. It's widely used. It's considered safe, it's fairly inexpensive, and it's got consistent human evidence. So that is all wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It increases your phosphocreatine levels, which is really useful in your muscles and indeed your brain cells. It helps regenerate the ATP, like I said to you earlier, during that intense exercise. And indeed, it will support energy turnover when demands are indeed spiking. So it's great. It's got some really, really positive studies behind it. One of those studies was a systematic review and a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials. And it found that when paired with resistance training, creatine supplementation significantly increased muscle strength compared to placebo. It showed greater gains in upper body strength and lower body strength during that very training. And that was a study done on adults who were just below the age of 50 years old. That was done by Wang et al. In 2024 and published in the journal Nutrients. It's also had beneficial effects for cognitive function and brain performance. Once again, a meta-analysis as done by Procopodis in 2023. Now, meta-analysis showed that the randomized controlled trials, the outcome of that, of course, was that improved memory performance was on display, which was great, absolutely great in healthy people compared to placebo. So this was not a study done with fibromyalgic patients, but indeed healthy patients as well. Stands to reason that there may be some crossover in terms of improvements with those who've got energy deficiency syndromes. It's my job to kind of jump in here and give you an alternative perspective, because it's not all roses, glitter, unicorns, and marvelousness. No, it isn't. So fundamentally, I have to tell you about my own experience with it, because my experience is also something that a lot of testimonials and anecdotal evidence out there is suggesting may indeed be something to consider before you start taking a supplement of this power. On the 24th of March 2025, I was taking it up until that point for about 3 weeks. And I was feeling, initially, I will tell you now, I felt alive. I felt energized. I felt brilliant. I felt cognitively really with it. I recognized also that after week 1, the positive effects tapered downwards. So I definitely wasn't experiencing that initial high. I definitely felt that there was a diminishing and a degradation of that initial optimized output. I'm very cautious with my supplements, it has to be said. So normally, I will only take very low doses of things, only so that I can monitor my symptom profile to check out what is working and indeed what is not. And obviously then you can adjust your dose up if you're feeling better and adjust your dose down or just stop it if it's not beneficial for you. So I was taking no more than about 1 gram a day. Now, perspective. That's a very conservative dose. So they suggest the common consensus out there is that you can and should take a loading dose of up to 20 grams per day, taken in 4 5-gram doses throughout your day for 5 to 7 days. So now put that into context with 1 gram a day, that's nothing comparative to that. And after your initial loading dose, you are then supposed to be taking a maintenance dose of around about 3 to 5 grams per day. So you can see even in that perspective, 1 gram is very low indeed. And the reason why you take such a loading dose is because basically you end up with a saturation of creatine stores in your muscles. That's what it is. And that will be really beneficial indeed if you need to continue to exercise. Right, so what did it lead to with me? Well, I landed up in hospital. Oh, joy of joys. Where I had chest pains, there was a severe brain fog, I was just not feeling well, I was just not feeling right. I'm really quite well attuned to my own body, just know what's going on. And so, boom, I get taken to the hospital and here ensues ECGs, lots of blood tests taken, and indeed what came back was everything in terms of the cardiology elements, or the cardiac elements of my system were fine, but the kidneys were not. In fact, I was told that I had an acute kidney injury. And coming up on the screen now, you will see my blood results. You will see my serum creatinine levels, which is what creatine is broken down to, were 137 nanomoles per litre when the upper limit is 104. But very importantly, my estimated glomerular filtration rate, or eGFR for short, was 53. Now, it should be around 90. Now, since getting fibromyalgia, mine has kind of sat in the boundaries of 83, something like that. But the creatinine levels haven't ever been that high, so actually didn't alert any problems, but my levels generally were around about 83. Anyway, so that is a problem. This acute kidney injury, or AKI for short, can be indicative of a sudden loss of function over hours or indeed days, and the 2 markers for that are creatinine and eGFR. And so as a result of that, we had a significant problem. My kidneys are just not functioning properly at all. And the fact that it happened in such a rapid way is the biggest indicator for an issue. So common triggers of acute kidney injury can be things like you might be severely dehydrated, you might have sepsis or a severe infection, you might have low blood pressure, you might have or been taking lots of NSAIDs, you might have had CT scans where they put a contrast dye in you and that might cause a bit of an injury, or indeed there might be some kind of urinary obstruction. So there are multiple different reasons why you might end up with an AKI, but in my case, it definitely was the creatine. So fundamentally, why is that important? This can lead to potassium retention, which can affect your heart, fluid overload, which means you might get breathless. It might cause acid accumulation, which means that you might have metabolic acidosis. That's pretty damn serious. You might have an increased level of drug accumulation in your system, which can lead to toxicity, and you might end up with confusion, nausea, fatigue, which might indicate something like uremia. So there is a real problem here, and your kidneys are pretty damn important that you need to be looking after them. The early intervention was required. I basically stopped all creatine supplementation absolutely immediately. and indeed rehydrated and try to flush the kidneys out as much as possible. I don't drink a lot of alcohol anyway, so that isn't a huge thing that I needed to cut out. I just looked after my kidneys well, or I've tried to at the very least. So fundamentally, where are we now? All right, so the good news is coming up on screen, as you can see from my results, serum creatinine levels have gone down to 110 from 137, which is a lot better, even though it's still above where it should be. But also, my eGFR levels have now gone up to 69. That is over the course of about 8 to 9 months, which is great. So the acute kidney injury is now definitely being addressed, which is really, really positive. So what are the takeaway messages from today? Creatine monohydrate is great for a lot of people. But for some people, you really do have to be very, very careful. It is my experience and that of many others that the reason why I'm making this video for all of you to arm you with that particular information. So take it with caution. Take it only if your kidneys are healthy. That's a really important point as well. If you suspect that they might not be, get yourself checked out. Indeed, if you are taking creatine monohydrate, definitely also get your bloods checked out to see whether your eGFR levels and your creatinine levels are okay, because if one of them is elevated and the other one is depleted, the eGFR being the depleted one, you have got yourself a problem. You need to check it out. Right, so I genuinely hope that you found the video really, really helpful. And if you found value in this particular video, please do hit like and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm feed this into lots of other spheres. And I genuinely hope to see you back here very, very soon. If you like my other videos or you want to see some more of my other videos, then please do endeavor to click the link here and indeed here. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, may you have your whole lives surrounded with the most beautiful angelic golden light. May your health continue to recover, and I really wish you all the best. Take care, everybody. Mwah. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.